What is up? What is up? What is up? My name is Jeremy. That is Drew. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. We know how to get the show started. Let's get it right off the bat rolling. Let's kick it off like we're Urban Meyer, but we'll talk about him in a little bit. Let's talk COVID, baby. Get right into it. COVID. Ruining playoff races, or what is going on? What's the NFL going to do? I know you got thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do something, right?
You would think.
I think there is north of 80 people that have ended up on the COVID list around the league in the last 48 hours.
And in the last hour, we found out 18 now for the Washington football team.
Yeah, I did see that for the football team. It's to the point like now where they have to step in and do something, right? And so because what's happening is we're going to have a watered down product at the most valuable time of the year, right? And again, we kind of knew the colder the weather, the more this was kind of going to get out of hand. And just the problem is with, the close proximity of players on airplanes. I mean, you look, for example, when the Rams went on and beat Arizona on the road there, and then, OBJ gets on the flight, he tests positive for COVID the next day. So it's like, it's going to happen. It's going to spread, but to the NFL's point, they got to do a better job, in my opinion. And it's not really political whatsoever, but in my opinion, with these players that are already vaccinated, which there's a lot that are, and a majority from what we've read of the players that have tested positive in the last 48 hours or so are asymptomatic. So they're vaccinated, they're feeling normal. I just think that it's gotten to the point where if you're just going to test everybody, right, and you're constantly doing these tests, there's going to be guys with COVID. We know how easy it spreads. However, with the vaccine being asymptomatic, there's got to be a better way to do things to where we can lighten the protocols a little bit, right? I mean, missing 10 games, 10 days, not 10 games to be real shitty. Missing 10 games, it's tough, especially when you miss 10 games, you're guaranteed to miss a game, right?
Yep.
In some cases, depending on how things fall, whether it be Thursday night or not, you're missing 2 games. And it's just, again, we're to the point of the season where they have to figure something out. And I know that, the NFL is kind of looking at that at this point. And we just look at it like for your team, for example, look at all the COVID going around down in Berea. So, and the other thing that comes with this is so say that the NFL does decide to lighten the protocol. Well, that doesn't really help the Browns this week necessarily, unless they do it like tomorrow. So this is something that they probably should have had a plan for, because now it's kind of giving an advantage to other teams, and you could argue whether that's right or wrong, but definitely something's got to change, because I just feel like this is going to continue, the more into winter we get.
You would think that Raj would have a plan at this point. We've blown up Raj about the Deshaun Watson thing. We've blown him up about every little stupid thing they've done. Release the emails, baby. Get rid of them.
Seriously.
Enough. Let's get stuff out. Let's stop being the coy NFL and take care of things immediately. You look at a team like the Washington football team. 18 players now have tested positive. Are most of them vaccinated? Per reports, yes. Are they asymptomatic? Yes. Could they play possibly? And then, not even that. These players are in a playoff battle. They are within striking distance of a wild card berth. Losing last week to Dallas cost them the NFC East. But at this time, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. Why do you want teams to go in with this many players out? I get it. Injuries happen, and maybe that's 3 to 5 players. This is 18 players they could be without. The Cleveland Browns have 16 players, including their head coach. Now, they won a playoff game without said head coach, who had COVID last year. But this is a guy who's asymptomatic. He's been vaccinated twice. He's gotten the booster. If he's on the sideline, rocking the mask, and you're outside, if these guys are outside and these guys in the trenches are spitting on each other constantly. You're laying in the bottom of a pile, someone's probably going to drool, spit, slobber, something. You're going to be sharing your germs somehow. And yet none of these guys, like you figure the Ravens would be blown up because they just played the Browns Sunday. And now all these guys from the Browns have COVID. So the
And the
way this
shitty
is
thing is
spreading in the
too,
league, go
like,
ahead.
not only that, but like like take for example the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
It rolls around to the day of the game,
Yep.
and then you lose Jalen Ramsey and Tyler Higbee. And so this is completely different than injuries. You know, you're not going to have a guy in a walk. You're not going to have two of your best players in a walkthrough pregame injure themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
I
this
mean,
is
I
constantly
want to
moving
say
pieces.
that, but the Cleveland Browns had a guy get a concussion on the very last day of practice last week too. So anything's
Hey,
possible. But yeah, for the
Stephen
most part, you're
Tolik.
right.
Stephen Tolik once tore his ACL doing the discount double check after sacking Aaron Rodgers. So
We'll have to talk about that. Stop doing that, people.
yeah, stop. But yeah,
It
but I
never
mean,
works.
so as a coach, I mean, it's constant chess you're having to play. And just for the example, like the Lions last week, they had 7 practice squad players
Mhm.
playing. And the Lions roster can't win as it fully healthy. So it's just there's something that needs to happen because I think you probably agree. I don't expect things to necessarily slow down anytime soon. And when you're and we can't do the bubble thing, like we're past that. We're like
Mhm.
this is something we're living with now, right? It's not just
Yep.
going to go away. So we need to figure out how to like. I feel like this time last year, like people were afraid of people dying, and I
Yeah.
get that, right? And the vaccine itself, helps, make the symptoms more mild. But
Mhm.
we're talking about athletes that clearly that's not something we necessarily have to worry about. So at this point, it's like when we know a little bit more about it, and clearly it's not going anywhere, regardless of any mass mandate. It's not
Mhm.
going anywhere, right?
Yep.
It's not. And so they have to figure out, and we just as a society have to figure it out. But especially, at this point of the season, us selfishly, we know bowl games are rolling around. We know, playoffs are right around the corner. And I don't want to watch a game without Patrick Mahomes or,
Mhm.
and then we get to the point like
Even
what
without Baker
happens.
Mayfield.
Yeah, like exactly. So like then we get to the playoffs and Tom Brady tests positive. Like Bruce Arians is threatening to murder a guy if they tell, right? like so like it's like then the teams start to hide it. Like how does that work? I just think that they need to figure this out sooner rather than later. I'm not saying I have the right answer, but there has to be a better way to go about it than what we're currently doing.
No, but what you brought up is true. At this time last year, it was killing more because we hadn't had a vaccine. We
Right.
didn't understand it as much. I mean, you and I probably still don't understand it completely, but we're not doctors, we're not in the medical profession. At this point, the guys who get it, and if it's the new Omicron variant or whatever we're calling it, the Transformer variant, the Megatron variant, whatever they're changing it, there's a new variant, I feel like, every week lately. And each variant they say is more mild than the last. And the beginning of the vaccine, they said the whatever variant it was at that time, the COVID-19 complete virus, they said that the vaccine would make the symptoms more mild. So if you're making those more mild, if you're making it more mild because it's the Omicron variant, then if these guys are asymptomatic, they're vaccinated. Everyone's eventually, I feel like everyone's eventually going to get it. It's going to be like the flu. Eventually, we're all going to get it.
And I think that's how you have to treat it, for lack
And
of a better term. And I know that people hate this, but like I
yeah,
think at this point you kind of have to treat it like the flu.
it's
We
what it's
can't
become.
we can't just shut down entire businesses, and the NFL is a business, and each organization is its own entity. Like we can't just shut everything down because a few people are not even potentially
Mhm.
sick but test positive. So I think the more we think about it, I think that you have to kind of look at it that way, and just kind of roll with the punches. There's not a whole lot of things that they can do besides kind of lighten the protocols based off of where they're at right now.
Yeah, vaccinated players, if you've been vaccinated, you should still be able to play if you're asymptomatic. And I've never said asymptomatic more in my life than I have this week. I think you and I in text back and forth today said asymptomatic 36 times.
My phone is now auto correcting normal words to asymptomatic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you, man.
I'm like trying to text somebody, hey, Alex, and it's, hey, asymptomatic, how are you today? Like, no, that's not what it
That
is. But
sums up 2021 in a
you look at
nutshell
this,
there.
7 teams are in the advanced COVID protocols right now. Bears, Falcons, Lions, Browns, Rams, Washington football team, even though I wrote WTF because that's just habit, and the Vikings. Go figure it's both of our teams. But there's 5 other teams in this right now. And all these teams, this is all across the country. You got teams down south, you got teams north, you got teams west, you got teams east.
Right.
I mean, it's obviously all around the country. And it's not going away. We haven't had any players show long-term effects. Let some of these dudes play if they're asymptomatic. Raj, take care of it now because the Browns could get their head coach out there. Looks like their quarterback is asymptomatic. You're going to be without 3/5 of their offensive line. The Browns can still win the game. We'll talk more about that later. But
And the more you kick the can down the road, the closer to playoff time we get. And then when we run into these issues in the playoffs, then people are going to be extremely upset. And I get, again, if people are sick, like I'm not downplaying the fact.
No.
But when you have guys that have played 17 games throughout the course of a season, for their season to essentially be kind of ended because of COVID, I just think there's got to be a better way. And then, then we run into, do we reschedule games? And if we're in the playoffs, then you reschedule a game. Now you got a team off 6 days rest instead of the other team with 7. And like, is that an unfair advantage to the team with 7 days, or, to 6 days or whatnot? So you got to figure it out sooner rather than later. And I don't know what else he's doing.
And like you said, we're not downplaying it. We're not. We're understanding that people are still dying from it. Sure, at this point, certainly. These are athletes who have not shown any long-term effects. They're not showing any symptoms currently. So you got a team like the Browns. I'm going to go back to my team. They play the next 2 Saturdays. So it's possible that any player who tests positive tomorrow not only misses this Saturday, but they miss next Saturday. A game against the Raiders, which is a winnable game, and a game against Packers on Christmas Day that they're probably going to lose either way.
Why are they doing? Can we just off topic? What's up with this Christmas Day game? Like they haven't done Christmas Day games.
No, they usually save that for the NBA.
Yeah, I love how they're shitting on the NBA, but like it just to me it was like they clearly went out of their way to make it on Christmas because it's Saturday. So like, and I know they like to throw in a Saturday game here or there, but I was shocked because somebody was like, "Yeah, the Browns playing Christmas." I'm like, "No, they don't." I'm like, "Damn, I guess they do."
In a row.
I guess they do. So, yeah, that's it. I don't even remember the last Christmas NFL game, but
it's like even the guys today, there's a chance they could not be ready to play by next Saturday based on the way the COVID protocols are. So how much are you going to hurt a team because you want to move games to Saturday because you want ratings? I get not moving the game because it's a 4:30 technical primetime slot on NFL Network. You want this to be the Saturday afternoon game with no big college football games. There are a few bowl games that day, nothing huge. We'll get more into bowl games later. But NFL has to do something now. Not next week, not this weekend. Do it now. Get your owners together. It's Zoom call. You can do a Zoom call. It's so much easier than it used to be. It's not like you're doing switchboard things where you got to have the secretary connect stuff and get all the owners together. You can get 32 owners on Zoom with Roger Goodell, with whoever else you need to, and you can make a decision now. Or Raj, make your $32 million and take care of this right now. Because not only is it hurting my team, but it's going to hurt other teams. You look at the Falcons, still in the playoff race. Rams, obviously a pretty damn good team, coming off a huge win Monday night. Washington football team, the Vikings, somehow still in the playoff race. These are playoff races that you're going to end up hurting because you want to play 17 games. You want to play them on Saturdays? You want to do all this other stuff? Well, then help them out and figure out a way to make this work so that teams can get their best teams on the field. Do it, Raj. You haven't listened to us all year. Listen to us now.
They got lucky last year. They kind of just put their head down and kind of powered through COVID to an extent. And now it's kind of hit its peak as far as the way it's affected the league. So now is the time to see if or what Roger does.
Leadership is key. And what have you done for us lately, Raj? Speaking of leadership, we were originally going to go into the AFC North Mess after this segment, but instead we're going to go in to the leadership of, let me pull this quote out real quick, of Urban Meyer and the saga that continues down there in Jacksonville. So we heard all last week calling his assistant coaches losers. I'm not a loser. You guys are losers. I'm a winner. I've won everywhere I went. His team sucks right now. They're terrible. Trevor Lawrence looks lost. That offense looks a mess. Trev threw 4 more interceptions this week. Stories keep coming out. They're like, we can't just fire Herbs. Can we? Can we do that? It's got to be with cause. So then tonight, a story comes out from former kicker Josh Lambo. And Lambo says that while in a lunge position, let me try to say that again. Left leg forward, right leg back. Urban Meyer, while I'm in that stretch position, comes up to me and says, "Hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks," and kicks me in the leg. Now, if that doesn't get you pumped up to play, I don't know what does. Hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks, and boots him. And he says, "Don't kick me." And basically said, "Was it you had the other part of the quote? I think we were talking before."
He said, "I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever the fuck I want."
Herbs, baby, Herbs.
Yeah.
What a year for Herbs in Jacksonville. Like,
it's definitely a one and done type scenario. And here's the problem. When you're Shad Khan, you have to step up to the plate and make the decision to get him out of there, because at this point you have a super valuable young quarterback who's kind of just being ruined. And we see it a lot, but Trevor Lawrence has looked terrible. And Urban Meyer's look like everything's way over his head. I mean, every week there's a new report from the bar in Columbus to getting into it with Marvin Jones, who is like one of the
nicest
easiest,
dudes
best
ever.
locker room guy to get along with, to the Lambo thing, to him looking like his dog got ran over by a car when he shook Vrabel's hand last week. So for me, it's the inevitable that he's going to get fired, and I would be shocked if he doesn't, just based off of everything that's kind of, progressed over the last 3 months, really.
Mm-hmm.
The team stinks. They're really not showing any upside. He really, you could tell he doesn't know what's going on. They referenced a player in playing time last week, and Urban said he's been playing more minutes and he had 0 snaps in the game.
Third round pick too.
Yeah. So it's like he just doesn't have a pulse on what's going on. He looks defeated. You could argue that he wants to be fired. Which it's definitely an argument. At first, originally I'd be like, yeah, that's ridiculous. But at this point, it's like, I mean, I could listen to that argument. But at this point, don't you just ride it out to the end of the year? I mean, what's the advantage of firing him now? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I just assume they're going to let him finish out the year, but there's no chance that he returns, in my opinion. And they owe him a lot of money.
They do.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that they wanted to try to hold on to it as long as they can. But sometimes you just got to cut your ties when you have to. And at this point, you're ruining a young quarterback, and the locker room hates the guy. I mean, if from all accounts, I don't know if anybody likes him on the team.
Yeah, it's hard to say if anyone does. And that's why I brought up maybe this could be the reason they could fire him with cause and recoup some of that money, because he is owed a ton of money. And Shad Khan, he's got the money to do it, but at the same time, it's a lot of money to eat. And now, they've talked about, they've got an in-house candidate already in Charlie Strong, who struggled at Texas, was pretty good at UCF, or I think it was UCF. But
they need to get a real football coach. They need to get and I'm not all about always going and hiring a veteran, but I think that that's what's needed with this locker room, one, and with the quarterback too. And I think that that's a decision they have to make. That would not be a good hire. I don't think that anybody on that staff should be retained necessarily. And it sucks, because I'm sure there's good assistants on that team. It's just sometimes you go down with the ship, and that shit's flooding quick, and they need to get out and get on a lifeboat. But it's not. I mean, there's no saving it. You can't patch the whole of.
There are a lot of rivers flowing out of Jacksonville. Hop in the boat, flow out,
and no doubt. And it's just, it sucks, man. But it's just in Urban, who, for us being Ohio State fans, we had a lot of good times with Urban, and he was a fantastic coach. But I've come to the conclusion he's just a dick. And so, and the other thing is like, I want somebody with integrity and somebody that can help mold young players. And that's just not Urban Meyer.
Nope.
And you would think coming from college, it would, but we talk about this all the time. By the time the kids graduate, they're so damn sick of him anyway. And then, new scholarship players come in, and it's kind of the same rah-rah, but there's no way what he's saying is resonating with any of his players. And they think he's just full of shit, and as they should.
Plus, Urban had the top of the top talent everywhere he was, outside of maybe, Bowling Green and Utah when he was working his way up. Once he was at Ohio State and Florida, he had the creme de la creme of the best. He
Sure.
didn't have to mold anyone. He just had to get these guys in the field and get them in the right position. He's got he's scraping the bottom of the NFL talent pile with some of these players and doesn't know what to do. He's expecting to put 5-star athletes as his gunners, and he doesn't have that kind of thing anymore. It's a totally different mindset. We talked about it when he was coming in the league. Totally different mindset. And he's never caught up to it.
See, even the shitty teams in the league, like even the worst teams in the league, the Lions, the Texans, like those teams can beat, I don't want to say any given team, but really it is possible, right?
Any
like
given
there's
Sunday.
so much parity in the NFL as to where when you're rolling Ohio State playing Bowling Green, for example, there's just not a chance, like, right?
No.
Like the skill sets are so different. I mean, you're talking, you have professionals on both sides of the football on each team. And yeah, some team may have better ones, but there's always a chance that, and that's what makes the NFL so great. You don't see the 56-0 blowouts you see on a weekly basis on the college slate.
Yep. Unless you're the Raiders jumping on the Chiefs logo at midfield and then you get stomped 41-9 or whatever that was. That was a pretty ridiculous thing to do. Two things we've learned from this weekend. Don't dance on the logo and don't do the discount double check. It never ends well. Also, back to Urban. Yeah, this guy looks like he's just always been a dick, but he's gotten away with it because he's had college kids who really are afraid to probably say something.
And he's won.
Maybe that's the case. And he's won, and winning cures everything.
Sure
Speaking of winning, the AFC North right now, absolute mess. We got 4 teams still with a chance to win this thing, all within a game or two of each other. You got the Ravens at 8-5, Browns and Bengals at 7-6, Steelers in the rear at 6-1. Who's going to win this division, Drew?
It's interesting. Schedule wise, for the Browns, they clearly hold their own destiny, right? You think that they have to win every game besides the Green Bay game. I mean, it's going to be decided, with the Pittsburgh game and the Cincinnati game. On paper, right now, I actually think that Cincinnati is the favorite to win the division. Maybe not on paper, but like the way I see it.
They've got Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns to finish the season.
Yeah. I mean, 2 of those games are difficult. And then you look at Baltimore. And the reason I'm kind of more down on Baltimore is 1, Lamar Jackson being dinged up is not great. But 2, they haven't been playing great anyway. And then you lose Marlon Humphrey. So you've lost 3 of your top defenders this season already. I just don't know I would put it between Cleveland and Cincinnati. It's hard for me to put it with Cleveland. Like, it's just the offense has been terrible. And for Cincinnati, they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde at times. Sometimes they're really, really good and sometimes they're not. But I think that they've shown the ability to run the football this year. I mean, Joe Mixon's been fantastic.
Yes.
And so I would take Cincinnati in this division right now. But I would think that it would be Cincinnati or Cleveland. I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm out on Baltimore, but if I had to pick one of those 3, it would be them. And then, the Steelers, they're not winning shit.
Yeah. Baltimore, they're basically like 5 plays away from being 3-9. They haven't been good. Or not 3-9, I guess they're 8-5, so it'd make them 3-10.
89-yard field goal to beat the Lions.
Ridiculous field goal to beat the Lions. I mean, they've come up lucky in almost every game, and they still almost beat the Browns.
You need that, though, right? You need that. That's part of the NFL. These games all come down to the wire.
Good teams find a way to win a game. Bad teams find a way to lose a game. Ravens always find a way to win, and even with Tyler Huntley out there, they've won games. But you look at they've got Packers, tough game for them. Bengals, who is a tough matchup for them. Rams, tough matchup. And then they finish with Steelers, who I don't think anyone is afraid of the Steelers, except for the Browns, who have that little brother attitude when they play the Steelers. But for this team, when we match up the Bengals and the Ravens, you can beat the Ravens if you can throw the football, which is why the Browns struggled against them, because the Browns are still struggling to throw the football. But the Bengals
do not struggle.
They do not struggle. Joe Mixon may not be a part of that game, but T. Higgins, Kyler Boyd and Jamar Chase will thrive against that Ravens football team. Packers should be able to throw the ball against them. I mean, you look by the end of this weekend, they're 8-6. They probably lose to the Bengals 8-7. The Rams,
You lose Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two like all Pro Bowl players. And at the back end of your defense, yeah, teams are going to be, find it a little easier to throw the football. All I know is Harbaugh's a damn good coach. And,
he is.
And they'll play well in those games, and I expect them to put up a fight in this division. I just don't. I just think the other two teams have the advantage.
The Browns are the team with the biggest advantage to win this because they face the Raiders. Even without the players they have, if they can run the football, which you can against the Raiders, anyone can run the football against the Raiders. You run the football, Case Keenum manages the game, you win that game. Packers, I don't think the Browns beat them. Steelers, that's a winnable game. And the Bengals, the Browns can beat the Bengals. They've never struggled against the Bengals and probably played their best game against the Bengals. So right now, even though I didn't pick them to win the division, I picked the Ravens to win them. You picked the Browns. I think the Browns have the best chance, but I'm with you. The Bengals have a great chance as well. Their biggest game is the Chiefs. What do they do in that Chiefs game? What are they doing in that Chiefs game? What are they feeling like coming out of that game? And how are they going to close the season against the Browns in Cleveland? That's going to be the interesting thing. And Steelers with Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Ravens. I can see the Steelers finishing 0-4, ending up 6-10-1.
Oh yeah, they're running through death's row to end the year.
And don't get me wrong, the thing is, the Ravens and the Steelers, by far the best coach teams in the division.
Oh, I agree.
But the Ravens, even with Marlon Humphrey, couldn't stop the pass, and they've got 3 pass-happy teams at the end of the year, finishing with Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger's probably final game against the Ravens, and he's going to try to ball out.
And Ben's actually been better lately.
He has been, but he's still trash for the most part.
Oh, I agree.
And
I agree.
Their
Silver lining, he's been better.
Their offense has been trash. Their longest run, I think, on the year is still Mason Rudolph with 25-yard run, which is or 26-yard run because Claypool had a 25. Yeah,
so neither are running backs.
Yeah, and you look at it. Najee Harris has been good, but it's been catching the ball out of the backfield and in goal line situations. 23 yards is his longest. Steelers just still struggling. They're not playing well. So I'm absolutely with you. It's an Ohio team probably winning this division, but right now they're like the MAC. They're just all bunched up.
Yeah.
And none of them are really that, like, none of these teams coming out seem that scary. Like, none of them are any of them going to make noise in the playoffs. I mean, yes, it's possible, but do you expect it?
The AFC playoff picture is it looks a little different than it did, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, right? I mean, look at Buffalo, haven't been playing well. You look at Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, I know that they won big. They got up big. I think it was 28 or 35, nothing a half last week against the Raiders. But Patrick Mahomes hasn't been good. You look at the Browns, and they're potentially don't even make the playoffs. And I think Tennessee's a fraudulent team.
But if they get Derrick Henry back, we'll see.
Sure. But I think that, like, the teams that we looked at the top of the AFC being like these huge powerhouses, like, have kind of come back down to earth recently. And, Buffalo, though, is certainly the one that stands out to me. But so although that these teams don't seem like they potentially would make some noise, I'm not sure they're that much worse than the teams I just mentioned.
Yeah. Right now, who's the best team in the AFC?
New England.
Kansas City.
New England.
Okay. I think it's Kansas City. It's tough because I feel like you could beat Kansas City by playing a decent game.
And New England's outplayed what they should be, right? New England shouldn't be this good. And they shouldn't be this good yet. In Kansas City, on the opposite of it's just played like shit all year long. So right now,
9-4 somehow.
I just like how the Patriots can win multiple ways. And the way their defense is playing. I mean, they showed you that they can win, whether it's throwing it one time for a game or 3 or whatever it was, or let Mac Jones air it out. And I'm impressed by them. So for me, I would pick them right now. And I think they're a beatable team. I certainly think the NFC has the cream of the crop heading to the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, the top tier NFC teams. Everything after like the 3rd or 4th seed is
I mean, I just look at Green Bay. I look at Tampa. If Tampa does get Antonio Brown back, I don't know what the deal is. But what Leonard Fournette's been able to do, and then you throw in Arizona, you throw in the Rams. I think that there's 4
I
real
guess
solid teams.
you can add Dallas in there based on what we saw of their defense
Yeah,
this week.
see, but Dallas
They
is
finally
Jekyll and
get
Hyde too.
they are on offense, but you finally on defense get Micah Parsons, Dexter Lawrence, and not Dexter Lawrence, Demarcus Lawrence, and Randy Gregory playing together, and that team
Randy Gregory will fail a drug test before
probably.
Yeah, but I mean, but you can't tell me the NFC is not way more well equipped at this point when you look at it.
Top tier teams are way better.
Yeah,
expect an NFC team to win it. And speaking of failed drug tests, how about Josh Gordon getting a touchdown this weekend? First time since his rookie year of 2001.
Well, it was like a 3-yard out, wasn't it? Or
still a touchdown.
No, I know it was. And somebody. I didn't even I was watching Red Zone, but I was over, drinking some beers at my brother-in-law's house, and I got a text that Josh Gordon scored. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Forgot he was even playing.
Forgot he was even fantasy team 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, and then he comes on Twitter and he's like, oh, all grace to God. It's like, all right, dude.
He lit up a bowl. And speaking of bowls, let's talk bowl games.
Good segue. Professional.
That's professional. We got bowl games starting this week. 12 bowl games will be played between this show and next week's show. And
how many are you going to watch?
Bits and pieces of a few of them. I'm going to say 7.
Okay.
Bits and pieces.
I'm going to put the over-under at the 5, so you'll go.
Yeah, I'll go 7. Over. I mean, I'm interested. I want to see, let's see what we got here. There's one game I was interested in, kind of. South Carolina State, Jackson State. I want to see the fighting Deion Sanders. I mean, I want to see how they do.
Deion throwing his weight around today.
Number 1 player in the country going to Jackson State.
And not just the number 1 DB, the number 1 recruit in the entire country. And my man put on the Florida State and he threw that shit. And he had his mom toss him a Jackson State hat.
I mean, there are some. The thing is, though, with these bowl games, there are so many of them now. And it's a watered down thing. But we all love more football. So while some of these games are watered down, you get some pretty good random games like the Jackson State game. This could be a fun game to watch. Maybe the North Illinois.
I've looked at 0 bowl games. I know who's playing in the big bowl games, but for the other bowl games, I have no clue.
And that brings us to a fun segment here, which we did last year, I guess, and I totally forgot about it. But once again, for the second year in a row, it is the bowl game, where I will name bowl games, and Drew will tell me if it's a real bowl game or a fake bowl game, which was a perfect segue for you saying you didn't know any of the bowl games outside of the big ones.
You've gone from Drew, smoking bowls to bowl games to bowl game.
We're talking bowls, baby, and not want cereal. And by the way, there was a cereal question on Twitter. Best cereal there is. And Cocoa Pebbles, for me, number 1 cereal.
No.
And go ahead. I'll get back to my point. Go ahead. What's your number 1 seed?
Peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Ooh, that's a good one. But Captain Crunch rapes your mouth, like the
roof
of your mouth.
Hey, listen, dude, you gotta.
And yet you eat 7 more bowls of it.
Yeah, right.
Because at that point, the blood tastes delicious.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, it's not for soft people. The peanut butter Captain Crunch is for a badass dude.
You find out how hard you are right there, baby.
I tend to think of myself as kind of like a tough cereal eater, hard nosed cereal eater. Yes, that's a good bowl though.
But I was talking about Cocoa Pebbles, and another dude brought up how he combines Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles, and how it's an elite cereal.
You should be arrested.
And I had both last week. We went to the store, I bought both, and I just couldn't do it. I wanted to.
Part of what makes Fruity or Cocoa Pebbles great, by the way, is the chocolate milk at the end.
Yeah.
Right? That's an added element to it where I feel like if you're throwing in a fruity taste into my chocolate milk, I just think that you're kind of ruining one of the better parts of a Cocoa Pebble.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't mix the rainbow with the chocolate. It just was throwing me off. But yeah, this is the Full Coverage Football Show. We are full coverage everything. And
that's right.
Now, back to the bowl game. Drew, tell me, is the Hellman's Mayo Bowl a real bowl game?
That is a real bowl game.
It is not a real bowl game.
There's a Mayo Bowl game. I'm
There is
pretty
a
sure.
Mayo Bowl.
Okay,
It is the
all right.
Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Okay, all right. That was a good one. I knew
I'm
for a
coming out
fact
just
there
to
was
see.
a Mayo Bowl
Yep.
game.
So that is not a real one, but you were right. There is a Mayo Bowl. Is it?
I mean, how many
Is
Mayo
the?
Bowls?
I'm like, let's see if he knows his Mayo Bowls or not. Who's the sponsor?
Apparently, I don't.
The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Real bowl game or fake bowl game?
There's no chance that's a real bowl game.
That is a real bowl game. SMU versus Virginia in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Okay. Okay.
That's going to be a matchup. I'm guessing it's at Fenway Park, which will make me interested in it. I'll have to
That's
watch
kind
it.
of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
if it wasn't at Fenway Park, then what are we even doing?
Yeah. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I didn't do any research on that game, but I figure that's why I would be there.
Okay, so I'm 0 for 2.
Okay.
Wasabi Fenway.
I'm like,
Bowl.
Wasabi Fenway Bowl? That doesn't even sound real, and I'm reading it from their press transcripts. The Match.com Wrigley Bowl.
Not a real bowl.
Correct.
All right. So
That was one I created.
It was a good creation. It really, I mean, it made me think. I mean, especially since you're piggying off of a bowl at a baseball stadium, then you throw in Wrigley.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, I'm on it. I'm
The
back.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl.
That's a real game.
It is. It'll be UTSA versus San Diego State.
That is a mouthful of a bowl game, but that's a real bowl game.
We're back here at the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Wow.
Guessing that's in Texas and Frisco, I would think.
Sure. And the Frisco
Smoothies for
Football
all.
Classic, real bowl game or fake bowl game?
Damn, Frisco's getting a lot of games.
Frisco Football Classic.
Sounds made up.
It is a real bowl game. I piggybacked again. That will be North Texas facing Miami of Ohio. Ben
Okay.
Roethlisberger's
So North
alma
Texas
mater.
is right there. North Texas is just north of the city of Dallas. Forgot the name of it. Starts with a D. I've been down to that campus.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like a home game for them.
There's a lot of bowl games like that this year where a lot of teams are getting home game almost.
Well, there's so many. There's only so many football stadiums in America. You got 100 bowl games,
including the Hawaii Bowl where Hawaii plays, Louisiana Bowl where the Louisiana Raging Cajuns play against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Anyway, back to our bowl game. The Taco Bell Cheesy Fiesta Potato Bowl.
That's not a thing. That's not a thing.
You are correct. I just know they're delicious, and I thought I'd throw that in there. Now, this one I already know you know the answer to, but we had to put it in here because it seems unbelievable. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifel or Stifle. I don't even know which.
It's a real game, but like Jimmy Kimmel's not even funny. How the hell does he get his own bowl game? And like, Jimmy Kimmel even going to be there? I bet he's not even there.
Just going to be a float of Jimmy Kimmel's big ass head hovering over.
Is it like a Thanksgiving parade halftime with just like a giant inflatable Jimmy Kimmel,
or like a paper mache one like they do for the Rose Bowl?
That's way more tolerable than the actual Jimmy Kimmel.
And that's Utah State against Oregon State. So I mean, it's a solid game. But
yeah,
what game are you? Oh, you guys are in a bowl game this year. What one? The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
You're full of shit. That's not a thing.
Stop making shit up. All right, the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl.
The what?
Tail Greeter Cure Bowl.
Tail Greeter.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes because you can't make that up.
No, I'm not that stupid. Thankfully.
No.
Northern Illinois against Coastal Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My Chanticleers, man.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. It'd be nice.
Weren't the Chanticleers supposed to be like really good? And then
they
were
were.
like, yeah. And then they realized
they should have been in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, which is a real bowl game, apparently.
I know that's a real one. Yeah.
All right. The Cricket Celebration Bowl.
I'm aware Cricket's a cell phone company.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to celebrate it because it's shit. So I'm going to say that's a false bowl game.
Oh, that's where you're going to find Deion Sanders and Jackson State facing South Carolina State.
Damn it.
This is a ridiculous segment, but it's kind of fun. All right, last one. The Visit Beautiful Branson Entertainment Bowl.
One more time for the people.
The Visit Beautiful Branson Entertainment Bowl for Branson, Missouri.
Now, somebody that's been to Branson, Missouri in the last 12 months, actually the last 8 months, I know Visit Branson is a big thing that they promote down there. So I'm going to say that that's a real bowl game.
That is a made-up bowl game here on the Full Coverage Football Show.
Visit Branson's a real thing, dude. It's everywhere.
Listen, I spent a good 7 minutes on the shitter coming up with some of these. So
that's good.
I did some Googling. But yeah, we got bowl games starting this week. 12 games between now and our next show. Drew, I said I'd probably watch 7 of them. How many do you think you're going to be watching?
4, 3.
4?
I mean, I'm just not like all those teams that you named. I don't even give a shit about. Like, I'll watch them just because, you know, I like to keep an eye on the draft, and you and I do a lot of draft stuff. But I just can't get together for this Cricket Celebration Bowl.
Not a big.
I mean,
thing,
although that's the one that I actually might watch, just because I want to see Dion in like a $200,000 necklace on the sideline.
Yeah, Coach Prime doing a pretty good job down there. I mean, there's some crazy like here. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Some of the other bowl games I didn't talk about. The Bahama Bowl, that's a real bowl game, and that's the one I would want to go to if I was on a team.
Oh, hell yeah.
Go to the Bahamas, and that's Middle Tennessee versus Toledo. That's the first bowl game of the year. Starts at noon on Friday.
The Rockets.
Yeah, Toledo going to Bahamas.
You know what? There is a chance that I watch. Well, not on noon on Friday because Tiger Woods' practice round is at noon on Friday. But like, the thing is with these bowl games, there's such random ass times in the middle of the week. Like, I'll have my laptop up at work watching them. So like, I'll watch them. To your point, like, I'm not going to watch the whole game, but I will definitely watch bits and pieces of it while I'm just going about my day.
There are 7 bowl games come Saturday with 2 NFL games going on. You will see the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl game that day, the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl, the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. I mean, enough. Let's go back. Like, I miss the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
I miss
the Rose Bowl. The Orange
and now, yeah, the Orange Bowl. Now it's the Tax Act Texas Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One Venture X. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Give it back to Tostitos, baby.
I know. You're right. Tostitos was a very deserving candidate.
The Verbo Citrus Bowl. Enough.
I agree.
Let's go back to the pros here. Let's start picking some games.
I'm guessing, though, that the kids do enjoy all these sponsorship because it adds, like, those gift packages that they're getting. It's probably, you know, considerably better. I know, like, they got, like, PlayStations last year or something. Like, that would be pretty cool.
It is cool. It's good for the kids, but some of these names just ridiculous. Like, what are you getting from the Tail Greeter Bowl? I don't even know what Tail Greeter is. Do you?
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay.
I don't either. I'm guessing it's like a, if I were to guess, and I'm going to look it up right now.
All right.
I would guess it's like some sort of, like, tractor or travel trailer.
Okay.
What's it called again?
Tail Greeter. I was thinking it was like a Match.com for dogs.
Bro, that's not a thing. Oh, okay. This is kind of cool.
Okay, what is it?
It links people up to tailgate together to different events. I can get behind that.
I like that one. Look, we're learning together. This is
the tail greeter. Listen, I'm all about tailgating, and
that is one of my favorite bowls now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We got the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Yep.
I will not take any Tony the Tiger slander.
Yeah, but Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
It's terrible, but they're great.
Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl.
I'm pumped about, you know, I'm a Barstool guy.
It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, Thursday, December 30th. Yeah, Cheez-It Bowl. I'm in for that one. I would go to that one.
Cheez-It Bowl's become like a staple bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's some of these that, like, originally they sounded goofy as hell, but like now that we've had them for like 4 or 5 years, we're like, oh, it's a Cheez-It Bowl. What do you mean?
Just like we both wanted to go back to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, just because that's what we were used to.
And that's why I knew there was a fucking Mayo Bowl, dude.
Yeah.
I just didn't
Duke's
know it was
Mayo.
I
Because
didn't
it's
know
the
it
best
was
mayo
Duke's.
in the South. Anywhere you go down south, you should find Duke's Mayo. All right, let's get into the game picks. Last week, both of us went 11-3 again. I had a chance to go 12-2, but I picked the Lions again, and
you can't go back to the well twice, dude. That's on you, brother.
I
I have
picked them on
nothing else to
Wednesday,
say.
and by Saturday they're like, we got nobody but Jared Goff, and I'm like,
And he
fuck.
sucks. He sucks.
So Drew still has a game up on me. Game number 1, we got a great Thursday nighter, and people, this is a big deal because this game would have taken a lot of our attention away from the show. It is the Kansas City Chiefs 9-4 traveling to SoFi to face the 8-5 Herbert Hive Los Angeles Chargers. And before we get into this game, how about that throw?
I have a
to
9
Jalen
p.m.
Guyton?
show tomorrow. I have a 9 p.m. show tomorrow for football, just like old times. I'm going to sit in the office so I can't
follow Drew
watch it.
at Detroit Dave 7.
Yeah, follow me at Detroit Dave 7. I'm following my Peter. I'm going on with my people over at DSM Media. I can't. I'm going to say I won't have the game on, but I'll have the game on. But I won't be staring at my giant projector, which hopefully won't throw me off as much. But yeah, I feel like we're still all over the place, but at least like we're looking at each other, and and I just am not like staring like go.
Yeah. See, Drew takes other shows seriously because you got to be a part of it. On this show, we got no rules, so we're just like, yeah, one of us will take care of this.
Well, you're my book. We've been doing this is like show like 90 probably
87 today.
See, okay, right. So you and I have we have the chemistry built down. Like when I go on other shows, although they're great dudes I'm going on with, it's a little bit more, and I'm talking DFS, which takes a little bit more thought than me just following football because that's what I love to do.
And we're good.
That's all I got.
And we're ready to go. But how about that throw, Justin Herbert Hive, baby, made with Jalen Guyton?
Throw of the year.
21 seconds left in the half. That was unbelievable.
Throw of the year.
And who tied in fantasy and backed his way into the playoffs because he didn't start Jalen Guyton? This guy.
Strongest arm in the league?
Yeah. I think 3 quarterbacks make that throw. Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert.
I think 9 for the Rams makes that throw.
I will go with that. Yeah, his arm's strong enough. And how about 9 getting that win finally, that big win against a good team?
I just hate the Rams. I hope they lose all their games.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love Matt Stafford.
I hate seeing OBJ making all these catches and looking good and looking like he wants to be part of a football team, but I get it.
Hey, dude, he did the celebration with my man. The self-defense dude.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. No, it's you're right. Like both are like Matt Stafford was basically like a decade of my football watching. Like whereas OBJ
was my hopes for a Super Bowl at one point
for like a year. But yeah, it sucks to watch both of the players that at one point were coveted pieces to our franchises go be good somewhere else, especially when my team's 1-11-1.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I like Sean McVay and I'm a big Cooper Kupp guy, so it's fun to see him win. And Aaron Donald's unbelievable. But back to this game, Kansas City Chiefs coming off a whooping of the Raiders, and don't dance on logos, don't meet on logos, do nothing to the other team's logo. This is a big game. Chargers tie for first place, or does Kansas City keep rolling?
I'll go with the Chargers here.
Taking the Chargers?
I think what happened last week with Kansas City is one, they just got out to an insurmountable lead against the Raiders. They really
instantly
did. I mean,
Josh Jacobs fumble on the first play and moving on.
And sometimes it goes like the stats tell me that Patrick Mahomes still is not playing near the quarterback he's been. Nope. Travis Kelce's kind of been a disappearing act here lately. Me with their defense, who's played better. Chris Jones is out of this game, who's their best defensive player
by far.
And so for me, I will go with Justin Herbert. And listen, Keenan Allen's coming back this week. They didn't have him from COVID purposes last week. This is actually a really big spot for Justin Herbert to kind of prove himself. And to your point, huge divisional matchup.
Yep.
But I will go with the Chargers.
Listen, I want to go with the Chargers. Rashawn Slater missing tomorrow, I think is huge. Left tackle, because Justin Herbert loves to hold that football, extend plays. I think that's going to be a big deal. So for that reason, I think it's that big of a deal. Can we just say how
awesome Penei Sewell's been, by the way?
He's
been. Like the second-rated tackle
phenomenal as well.
The entire league since week 6.
Listen, we knew that kid was a stud to begin with.
Hey, when we have nice things, I like to talk about him.
You should.
That's where it ends.
Excellent.
DeAndre Swift's cool, I guess.
He's gonna be keeping Jared Goff upright next year too.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders 6-7, traveling to Cleveland.
The
Home
Raiders,
of the fighting the COVID symptoms.
yeah,
Cleveland Browns 7-6. Big game for the Browns. They got to win this game.
they have to.
You taking
They
the
have to.
Browns?
Last week was a must win. This week's also a must win.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can lose to Green Bay, but you got to get this one.
Because you
I
need
know
all the AFC wins possible.
Yeah. And listen, since Chucky got fired, they haven't been good.
Nope.
And I know they've been put in a tough position, but this is kind of the MO for the Raiders the last 3 years. They get out to a nice start. We talk about them being a real team. We talk about Derek Carr being in the MVP conversation, being a legitimate quarterback, and then they fizzle out. Darren Waller's somebody find the man. I just think that Cleveland, what they did defensively last week too against Baltimore, I know that Lamar Jackson was not there the whole time.
They played better against Lamar Jackson than they did Tyler Huntley.
Yes, they did. They did. And I think just again with the two ends that you got, and Jadeveon Clowney had a really nice game last week.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Myles Garrett
play
brings.
The game.
The Josh Johnson or John Johnson missing this game is not great for you guys.
Yep.
But I still think that you guys have enough defensively, and you'll be able to lean on Nick Chubb that I think the Browns can get it done.
Listen, we got 2 more days till this game happens. Any of these guys could be out by the time this game actually happens. However, what you said is exactly right. Can't deny it. Browns still have enough. Ronnie Harrison should be back. He'll replace John Johnson. You've got Grant Delpit next to him. You'll have your starting corners back here without Troy Hill, who is probably going to be out anyway. Linebacker, you still got Owusu Koromoa out there, and that guy's been a stud at linebacker. That's who you need. Jacob Phillips returns. You've got your ends. You're missing one of your guys in the middle. You got enough on defense to stop the Raiders. However, the Browns do tend to give up a lot of passing yards. And Derek Carr and Hunter Renfrow have been pretty damn good of late. Hunter Renfrow quietly one of the top receivers in the league, especially with his route running. Insane to think about for a guy who looks like he should be pushing shopping carts.
He looks like me.
But the Browns have to run the football. You can run the football against this team and dominate. And the Browns have that ability. Even without Kareem Hunt, you've got Chubb and Dearness Johnson who's shown he can do it.
Dearness Johnson's nice.
And Case Keenum, all he's got to do is not turn the ball over. He will not have 3/5 of his offensive line, but the guys coming in have started before. Michael
Case
Dunn
Keenum doesn't
before.
turn the ball over, though. Like that's why it's nice to have Case Keenum as a backup because he's not going to lose the game for you.
Nope. Browns will move to 8-6 and probably be tied for first in the division. 3-way tie with Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland by the end of the week. The Saturday night primetime matchup, New England Patriots 9-4 at the Indianapolis Colts 7-6. It's a good Saturday night game. Who you got?
Give me the Colts.
Taking the Colts in the upset. I wanted to take the Colts. I did. I think Jonathan Taylor is a guy who can run against that defense. Carson Wentz just don't make stupid plays.
Carson Wentz makes one stupid ass play. That's the most out of the line stupid play every week.
Here's the oh god. Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots just because I got to catch up on a game with you, but I do think the Colts have a pretty damn good shot at winning this game. Carolina Panthers 5-8, who just designated Sammy Darnold to return and save their season. They traveled to Buffalo to face the Bills 7-6. Who you got?
Bills got a get right game, and they needed it too. I don't care if it's Sam Darnold. I don't care if it's PJ Walker. I don't care if it's Cam Newton. None of them are very good. And I think Buffalo needs, again, they need a get right game. And I think it's coming right at the perfect time for them.
Yeah, this is a game that Buffalo should dominate. Should definitely get big points, kind of get everything back together. I'm going with Buffalo as well in this game. I mean, you're going to take PJ Walker and you're going to take Cam Newton. You're probably going to split reps with them. Neither one's playing that well. Cam's a great runner. That's about it. Arizona Cardinals 10-3. Detroit Lions 1-11-1. Who you got in this one?
Arizona.
I'm going 3 weeks in. No, I'm not.
Oh, jeez. Jesus, just jump off the cliff.
I'm going Cardinals. Houston Texans 2-11 at Jacksonville Jaguars 2-11. This is a big game. This is all the marbles. The Kayvon Thibodeau Bowl or the Aiden Hutchinson Bowl. These are real bowl games now because these are huge moments. Davis Mills against Trevor Lawrence. Who you got in this one?
Houston.
Houston.
Jacksonville's a mess, dude. like I know Houston's bad and Houston's a mess, but like
Mhm.
Jacksonville is a shit show. And
We
I
talked about it earlier.
I think Houston, although the roster's terrible and they got a rookie head coach and there's just not a lot of pieces there, I think that's a team that's actually played pretty hard for their coach
They
and
have.
they've actually been in some games. It's tough for Tyrod Taylor to basically be benched the rest of the season. But again, I like what they're doing. I like that they're even though we're at this point of the season and they're as bad as they are, that team's still showing up every week, whereas Jacksonville's just completely quit on the coach.
Rhonda Bulger Good says Casey can do it, has shown he can, yeah, with the Browns. And get better. She's got COVID right now. Hope you're feeling better. But back to that.
Sorry about that. It's terrible.
Davis Mills deserves to start for the Houston Texans because you got to figure out what you got. But to your point, they are definitely playing hard. Two things you can say about this season. The Lions and the Texans suck.
Yeah.
But two more things you can say is that they've fought every game,
week.
and their head coaches have done a damn good job of keeping them interested because we've both seen teams be completely disinterested when they suck. So New York Jets 3-10 at Miami Dolphins 6-7.
Miami's making a run here, dude.
They are, and
I
I feel
want
like
to believe it, but Tua is Mr. 90% completion percentage here recently. The Jets are a shit show. The problem is like I actually still think Zach Wilson has a bright future. Lost a lot of confidence this year. They're just not doing things well. And I think Miami's kind of on the upswing right now. And the way Tua was playing, I'll take Miami.
Listen, I think that this is a game. It kind of worried me for a little bit. You know, maybe this is the time where the Dolphins' carriage turns back into a pumpkin. But the Jets are just bad. And yeah, Zach Wilson has played better of late, but that defense is just, they're horrible. They're not good at all. And they've got good players in John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, but nah, man, they are not doing anything. I will also take the Dolphins. Dallas Cowboys 9-4 at New York Giants 4-9.
Yeah, I did hear that there's possible Jake Fromm sighting this weekend. Would love to see it.
Give me the Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, you got the Jake from State Farm in the giraffe. Yeah, it's Dallas.
Bro, I can't even stretch my neck.
You can't. He's got a go gadget neck. It's really
like. Could you imagine the beard he'd have to grow to cover his neck? Insane.
It would take a lifetime.
Dynasty time, baby. I'm taking the Cowboys. The Giants are awful.
They are, but I heard they're talking about keeping Joe Judge. To each their own.
Maybe Joe Judge is doing a good job. Maybe he gets that overlap with a new GM because they need a new GM. I think.
What, you disrespecting Dave Gettleman?
Dude, Dave Gettleman
is terrible. Bad. Yeah, he's awful. Absolutely.
And they have drafted defensive line.
Completely off topic.
No.
Not even the same sport.
Yeah.
The Caps are up 44.
Yeah.
The Caps like decent. They seem pretty decent.
They are a damn good team. They're even doing this without Evan Mobley tonight. They were up 38 when I came up here to do the show over the Rockets. They were blowing the doors off them. The Rockets head coach walked off the bench.
The Rockets are terrible.
They are.
And anybody who thought Jalen Green was better than Cade Cunningham is an idiot.
Hey, I wanted Jalen Green over Evan Mobley, and Evan Mobley looks like a baby Tim Duncan.
So maybe you're an idiot.
I am an idiot. I have no problem admitting that. I've said it many times on this show. I am a moron. Washington football team at Philadelphia Eagles. This is a playoff battle. Washington without 18 players possibly. Philadelphia, they got Jalen Hurts probably starting again. Will they have a quarterback controversy if he plays?
I heard that his ankle sprain's worse than originally. Okay. Today I heard that.
Is his ankle worse or was Gardner better?
Well, Gardner's a damn legend.
The mullet.
I will take Philadelphia. I think the Washington football team's got a lot to deal with. Terry McLaurin's banged up with everything COVID wise. I mean, McLaurin went last week without a catch. He did get hurt, but
concussion bounced his head off turf. Looked bad.
Yeah, he kind of went up for a ball and just kind of came down, just all kinds of bad. So, and I think even as bad as that team's been, they've been able to at least move the ball somewhat successfully because of Terry McLaurin. So you take him out, and I'll take Philadelphia.
I didn't happen to read the entire list, but if Antonio Gibson is not one of those 18 players, I think Washington wins this football game.
Well, they finally realized that they need to give him 25 touches.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, it only took them 15 weeks to figure it out.
Well, the same thing with the Eagles. We talked about it last week or the week before that Nick Sirianni just learned you can run the football in this league.
They literally, remember they went like a game with like 3 rushes?
Mm-hmm. Them and Buffalo. Buffalo's still playing like a dome team, especially last week where they're like, hey, our quarterback's got a sprained foot. Let's run him still.
I think Buffalo is a dome team. I mean, they're not literally, but I have
They're like,
tons of
we
concerns
don't
about
we don't
them
want
in the
home field
playoffs.
advantage. We want to go play somewhere nice and warm.
Yeah, exactly.
Tennessee Titans, the Vrabels, 9-4 at the Pittsburgh Steelers in the big catch-up bottle, 6-6-1. Who you got?
Pittsburgh.
You taking Pittsburgh. I will take the Titans. I did pick Pittsburgh to lose 4 in a row, so that should be no surprise. Cincinnati Bengals 7-6 at Denver Broncos.
To go lose all 4 in a row too, but I'm off of that now. Things have changed. What's this?
It's
game?
been a few minutes.
Denver and who?
Cincinnati Bengals 7-6 at Denver Broncos 7-6. 2 7-6 teams, but feels totally different.
I don't know how Denver's 7-6. I mean, I know because they've won 7 games and they've lost 6. Is how they're 7-6. But give me Cincinnati here. It's again offensively, they're just Denver's just not very good. They missed Chad Kelly. If only he was under center. Listen, they played the Lions last week. They played their JV squad. The Lions weren't very good, but I think Cincinnati has to have this game, and I think they do.
Next time I get a hot dog at Sam's Club, I'll let Chad Kelly know that we still miss him out there on the field.
Please do. Send the best wishes to the family.
Those are good hot dogs too, man.
Never had. Hot dogs are hot dogs, dude.
It's $1.50. You get a hot dog and a drink. It's great.
Oh yeah, Sam's Club's got kind of the same thing. Like where their cafeteria, like people, like last time I was there was like 40 people eating at Sam's Club.
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
I mean, I guess
Give me that.
I'm missing out on something, man.
Give me that. But yeah, the Bengals should win this game. The Broncos 7-6, but you look at some of the teams they beat; they were terrible, and they also started like 5-2. I mean, they beat your team last week pretty fairly easy. And as we're talking Broncos, let's stop for a second. We didn't even talk about this. Demaryius Thomas, 33 years old. Crazy to think he's only 33. Because I feel like
I'm older than Demaryius Thomas, dude.
And supreme athlete. I'll never forget him taking that 75-yarder to the house in the Pittsburgh Steelers playoff game.
Timmy Teebs?
From Timmy Teebs.
Yes.
And
dude.
just taking to the house and beating the Steelers. I was cheering for the Broncos. I don't like the Broncos that much either.
And from all accounts, just an awesome dude.
Yeah. Everyone said fantastic dude and just gone too soon.
That's crazy. I mean, to think that he's younger than both of us, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting in our basements doing podcasts, right? So like it just
and in way better shape.
yes, we can confirm that's true. No, it's terrible though, and I mean, it's cool what they did last week. And even the Lions doing it,
100%.
They come out with 10 guys on the field. The Lions, decline the penalty. Not that it's a big deal from the game perspective, but I think it's cool.
But props to the Lions for being cool with that too.
I think it's part of the thing that like Dan Campbell, not to get off track here, but Dan Campbell gets like the league. He gets the players, and I feel like he's definitely a players coach. I don't know if every coach would do something like that, but it's definitely was a cool moment. And I believe somebody scored a touchdown. I forgot who it was.
Justin Simmons.
Yeah, that brought the ball and put it on the 88. But yeah, cool stuff. And again, gone way too soon. And again, from all accounts, was a pretty cool dude in a league that has some dirt bags.
Yeah. Final drive of that game for the Broncos, 88-yard touchdown drive. Fitting. Gone too soon. Let's get back into the football here. Atlanta Falcons 6-7, San Francisco 49ers 7-6.
Yeah, San Fran for me.
I'm gonna take the Niners as well. 6-7 Falcons. I don't think they're good, but for them to be 6-7, props to their head coach for keeping them in it. I thought Arthur Smith looked terrible at first, and no, he's doing solid. Now we're on to the Joe Buck and Troy Aikman game. The Green Bay Packers 10-3.
Just real quick, and I know we're like it's tough to like Arthur Smith's done a decent job. Matt Ryan's just not very good at this point of his career. And then you take away Calvin Ridley, right? He's by far their best playmaker. I mean, you could argue Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts is a rookie at one of the most difficult positions for a rookie to just walk in and be productive.
Yeah.
You have to give that coaching staff credit for what they've done with Cordell Patterson, right? The guy's been in the league 100 years, and now all of a sudden they put him at running back. They put him kind of everywhere, and he's been fantastic. So there's definitely there's definitely credit deserved. Like when you have an athlete, which is what Cordell Patterson is. I always remember playing NCAA 14, right?
Yep.
There was guys that were quarterback, running back, and there's just dudes just labeled athlete.
Yep.
And that's what Cordell Patterson is. And I feel like teams try to fit a square peg in a round hole for his entire career, when really he just needs the ball and he needs it in space. And that's what they've done a great job of doing.
Mm-hmm. And Cordero Patterson being used that way, one of the top players in fantasy football, you would have been better off taking Cordero Patterson over guys like Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke. It's crazy.
Why fantasy's stupid.
Yeah. And I'll take the Niners in that one. Back to the
I got a bye week, by the way. You see that bye week I got?
Yep. Nice for you.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Good job in the league.
Started a guy that got 0 carries last week at my second running back position. So I really needed a bye week.
Your team just dominated. You got that league figured out where you know how to win football games.
I guess, man.
I mean,
it was your way. You're in your league.
Yeah. I mean, I needed a win from you this week, and then I backed my way into the playoffs in that league with the stupidest tie, which I need to figure out a fair way to not have ties. And I think the best way to do it is to go to the decimal system for points.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it with bench points, because if you go into a league or into a week and you got a bunch of guys on bye or a bunch of guys hurt, you can't drop them for bench points. And for me to back my way, I haven't won in 5 weeks in that league. I was 7-2.
Trending into the playoffs.
Finished 7-6-1. I tied to make the playoffs. And the dude I tied with needed a tie or win to get in the playoffs as well. And we're both in the playoffs and kick out the hottest team in the league, who was like on a 5-game winning streak, rolling with Cooper Kupp, but unbelievable. Fantasy football is crazy. And that's my worst team in any league. My best team in any league is the one you got the bye week, where I thought that team was unstoppable. Just loaded.
Works,
but whatever.
That's the way it works.
Now I got to face the music. I got to be disappointed. I got to tell the owner I'm sorry and that it's been terrible. And it's just garbage.
You got to answer to the boss.
Got to answer to the boss, bro. Anyway, apparently we're just going to keep talking around this game. Packers at Ravens. The Joe Buck, Troy Aaron Andrews game.
Packers, I'm sorry.
Packers, I'm in with this. I hope someone does the discount double check right off the bat, and it just gets ugly instantly. Don't discount double check Rodgers. It doesn't end well.
He's been awesome, even with a banged up toe.
Did you see the doppelganger in the stands?
I did, dude. That was pretty legendary.
What the hell?
That was pretty legendary.
That was something. Seattle Seahawks 5-8, and that team doesn't feel like it should be 5-8. They still forget that they have DK
Russ
Metcalf.
Is gone. Russ is gone.
Russ is gone. I agree with that. Or do you finally say, hey, John Schneider, you're going to get full control. Pete's going to walk off into the sunset.
Pete's going to walk off with Russ goes somewhere else.
Okay.
That's just my guess.
But they're facing the Rams, and I think this should be an easy one for the Rams. You?
I don't think it's going to be easy.
Okay.
But I do like the Rams to win. I mean, again, it's Seattle is just they actually were able to run the ball somewhat successfully with Rashad Penny last week.
Yeah.
So I think if they can continue to do that to an extent, they have
first
a
round pick from like 2012. They're finally using him.
Who's always on the IR. But no, I'll take the Rams in that one, especially at home.
I mean, big week for the Penny family last week. Elijah Penny getting a touchdown for the Giants. Rashad getting 2.
I found a penny on the ground.
There you go. Find a penny on the ground and win your fantasy league this week. New Orleans Saints 6-7 at Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-3. It is the absolutely starving man's Josh Allen against Tom Brady. Who you got?
Yeah, give me the I was gonna say the Patriots. Jesus, give me Brady.
Give me TB and TB as well. Saints. Just give me some Kamara points. That's all I ask for.
10.5 point spread. That's a lot of points.
Yeah. Speaking of the Saints, we're going to go back off topic here. Did you see the previews for the Netflix movie? with Sean Payton, with Kevin James starring as Sean Payton?
Here's my question. What are they trying to portray in that movie? Like, right? So, like, in the previews, the guy that would have like a bounty on people for 3 years wins a Super Bowl, and now like we want to like root for him as like a children's football coach. Like, what was going? Like, I don't understand what it's all about. Like, I'm pretty sure I know a lot about Sean Payton.
It's really a true story, and I forgot all about it. But what the hell?
It's terrible.
Kevin James,
like Kevin James, and they're like, trust me, King of Queens, Kevin James is elite.
Yeah,
right. Like that. That's the peak of Kevin James.
Kevin James, funny dude.
Kinda, until he did like Mall Cop or whatever that shit was.
The fifth Mall Cop was a little much. Or the movie he did where he was the zookeeper who talked to the animals. Yeah. And the most unbelievable part of that movie was the fact that he hooked up with Rosario Dawson.
Yes, there was a time he was funny. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's gonna be terrible.
Is he gonna be serious in this? Like,
I don't know. They said comedy. How is it a comedy and a true story? Like, there's nothing funny about Sean Payton. Like,
apparently, he's fucking hilarious, and we just don't get to see that side.
And yeah, to have so Kevin look James for that coming to a Netflix near you. Yeah,
and it's a Sandler joint, so you know that David Spade's going to be in it. Please tell me he plays Greg Williams.
I'll tell you something I am excited about though is the Madden documentary.
Yes,
coming out on I think on Christmas.
Yes, so definitely excited about that.
I'm sure Kevin James' movie will be battling that for viewers.
You know, I'm going to end up watching it. I'm going to be sitting there at like 10 o'clock one night and be like,
I might partake in the devil's lettuce and get a good laugh out of it after.
That's probably the way you're going to have to do it. I'm going to find me a nice, happy little gummy bear laying around somewhere. And
you'll be like, man, that was just a funny movie.
Kevin James. Ever. Come back and be like, what the fuck did I just
Kevin James is down bad, by the way, if he's doing that.
Yeah. Back to football picks. Minnesota Vikings 6-7. Who plays Mike Zimmer in the Mike Zimmer story?
He's still winning with the girlfriend. That's
damn right. At the Chicago Bears fighting Matt Nagy's 4-9. Who you got?
Matt Nagy was having fun last week.
Yeah. I'm having fun. First, I'm like, what kind of quote is that? And where the hell's Michelle Tafoya?
It reminds me of like the Family Guy. This is fun. We're having fun. Give me Minnesota. Although Justin Fields has shown, I mean, Justin Fields, I think, is going to be the guy in Chicago. Once they get a competent coach that actually understands how to utilize his skills. But Minnesota is. Justin Jefferson's really good. Dalvin Cook could have went for 700 yards last week.
Yep.
I think Minnesota is a solid team that's lost a lot of bad games, but they're better than the Bears.
They almost blew a 72-point lead in that game. But I am going to take the Bears in this one, and hard to say that the Bears are once again on primetime. That's our Monday Night Football game this week. What's with all the Bears on primetime?
Yeah, they should have flexed that out.
You would think. And those are our picks. I'm taking Chicago. You're taking the Vikings. Let's get on towards wagers here. Let's see. You are 28-18 against the spread this season. Doing solid. What games you got?
Excuse me. So we'll start out with Chiefs. Chiefs Chargers tomorrow. I'll take Chargers at home +3. We talked about the reasoning behind it. Cleveland getting 1.5 at home. I will take Cleveland getting points at home. So far we have two home teams both getting points. The next game I'm going to look at, and so this one to me is a wild one, and I'm not going to touch it, but how's Dallas -11 on the road? And I know Dallas has been good or whatever, but whatever. I'm not playing that game. I will take Cincinnati also as my third and last game on the road +2.5 at Denver. So I'll go Cincinnati +2.5 on the road. And then I'll take two home dogs in the Browns as well as the Chargers. We're just going to go 3-piece this week. There's a couple weird spreads here. But the only other game I considered touching was the Seahawks and Rams game, but it's just a weird number at 4.5, so I'm going to stay away from it.
It's weird. The Browns were, at one point, I want to say 6-point favorites starting this week.
I mean, the whole team's got COVID. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, again, though, if Nick Chubb plays and you still have your book ends, I think getting points at home is just a bet I'm willing to take.
Only thing that beats them is if they let Max Crosby destroy him, and that's why you run draws and delays. Slow down the pass rush. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out here tonight?
No, that'll do it, man. Christmas next week. That's exciting for everybody. Get your Christmas shopping done.
Y'all done Christmas shopping?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
My kids have been spoiled so much wrapping. But yeah, we're done. I mean, there's still shit like lingering in from Amazon every day. I don't even know what it is, but
yep.
It's but yeah, I think we're good to go.
I've got about 86 Amazon packages randomly under my tree right now. And the kids are like, what's in this? I'm like, couldn't tell you. I got no clue.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And
but it'll be good.
Yep.
It'll be good.
Fantastic for that. Everyone get your Christmas shopping done. Remember, as always, you can find us here every Wednesday. Before we get out of here tonight, who plays Dan Campbell in a Dan Campbell movie?
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know. Who has that kind of energy? Like, I don't even know if I can name somebody that has that energy. Who you got? Who you take?
They got to be big. They got to be kind of jacked.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be a meathead for sure.
John Cena plays Dan Campbell.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that. I can get behind John Cena.
Yeah. Now I'm going to sit here and try to figure out who would play every head coach.
So Barstool put out a article today that did exactly that. So
well, then I'm going to have to check it out.
I didn't read it, but I did see that it was out today. My favorite is who plays Urban Meyer's when we do a documentary on Urban Meyer's one season as head coach. It'll be that. I'll tune into that one if Kevin James plays him or not.
Kevin James should play every head coach. Kevin James as Bill Belichick.
And Kevin James, let's see your range, brother.
Oscar worthy. 12, let's call it 32 for 32 Netflix. Release a movie every month where he plays an NFL head coach. I gave you the idea. You can send us just residual checks.
It's a lot of work for Kevin James, dude.
Listen, he can do it. He needs the money. I mean, Nicolas Cage needs money. He plays every movie possible. Maybe we get Nicolas Cage in a few of those. Nicolas Cage is Kevin Stefanski. And with that, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, whatever. You can find us on Twitter at SomeRealCLE, at DetroitDave7. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. And remember, as always, if you live the life you love, you'll love the life you live. Night, kids, and broadcast. Circle, circle. This thing on a circle forever. I think the show's over, but it still says we're live.
Yeah.
Dee. Having trouble connecting. Check your internet. This is a fantastic end to the show, kids. We're trying to get the hell out of here. I'm just going to close out my internet. All right, brother, you have a great rest of your night. Everyone else listening, internet just wanted to give up now. Fuck Spectrum, and we're out.
We'll see you
later, bro.